You guys know that ongoing gag that Asmongo does in his video titles where he always say, like, this game changed my life? Well, I actually have a story about how a game did change my life, and this one's actually true. In fact, I have video evidence to back it up. And this might be a story that none of you guys actually know about. I'm going back into my piggy banks here of DM lore a little bit, and you might be wondering why it's story time today. Well, I went to go live stream, and because I'm from Alaska, and Alaska has dog shit internet, the internet said, no, your connection is not good enough to live stream, so here we are. How many of you have ever seen this channel right here? Probably not very many of you. It's got 6 videos here. This is DM van life. This is my lovely Sprinter van. I bet you guys didn't know that I had a Sprinter van that I was building out. This is what it looked like way back in the day when I had just acquired it. And there are a lot of videos of me sitting here stripping out the walls, doing insulation, doing rust proofing. I was doing a whole series that I was calling Truly Mobile. And a lot of it was me just talking to the camera in this very awkward position, sort of talking my plans about what I was going to do with this Sprinter van. And my God, we put entirely too many hours. I say we because my brother actually does the whole van life thing. He has a van which he built into a tiny home. He absolutely loves it. He's been doing it for years. And I thought it seemed like a good idea. And I had been wanting to get out of Alaska for a very long time. And all I was doing was making YouTube videos. So I put 2 and 2 together and thought, you know what I could do? I can get my own van. I can build it with Starlink and all of the internet and all of the things that I need just to be a mobile gaming facility. And then I can get out of Alaska while making YouTube videos, because all I was doing was covering mobile games at the time. It was super easy. And then I can just play RuneScape pretty much nonstop until I get my max cape, and I'll just live kind of wherever inside of my dope Sprinter van, and I'll figure out where I want to live. And I would be lying if I didn't say that part of me still thinks this was a pretty awesome idea, and maybe there's something a little weird about a dude in his 30s who literally wants to go live in a van just to play his favorite video game that he played as a kid. But I still believe this was a pretty dope plan. And I've been inspired by guys like this guy. This is Trent the Traveler, otherwise known as TTT Fine Print. He travels the world and he's always playing WoW and video games. He's got a pretty dope van life set up. And I thought, there's a YouTuber that plays video games and travels and checks things out. I can do that. And maybe I could have done that, but I'm going to be honest, building that van is a fuckload harder than I thought it was going to be. We did get pretty damn far though. Now here's sort of a rough paint layout of what the van was actually going to look like. We had shower, plumbing, and sort of your cooking area here. This was a big corner desk, sort of like I have in my house that you put your computer on because we're still going to have a computer, right, for all of this. This was going to be the Murphy bed that laid down. It's sort of a queen bed that lays down and lies flush with this. And so this was sort of the layout of the van we were going to build. I say we because my brother was helping me with a ton of this. He had already built one van, and so him and his girlfriend were a huge instrument in terms of being able to actually complete part of this. And we got a large portion of the way done, actually. It had electrical ran, water and plumbing completed, and I say was, and I'll talk about what happened to the van. We got insulation in, rust proofing done, framing in, and all it really needed was to be buttoned up, put the walls on, get the solar panels on top, get the Starlink, and then, it was kind of most of the way there, baby. And over the last year, I'll see these questions pop up from people that maybe have been following this project. It's kind of a small side project, but I did put a lot of time in live streaming this project too, so some people had actually seen it. And I ran into multiple issues with the building the van. There's obviously a time problem. I started live streaming Diablo and ARPGs, and that takes 8 to 10 hours a day. I'm live every day on twitch.tv/Darth Microtransaction. Boom, smooth plug. You can find it down below. But that took so much time that I didn't have another 4 or 5 hours every day to slip over and work on the van, which meant my brother is the one really working on the van a lot of the time for me. And he got busy. He's got a job and full time, and he's building his own vans and projects, etc. So realistically, there wasn't a lot of people working on this van. So we have this huge van just kind of sitting there eating up space, which became an issue. It was also, to be honest, a knowledge gap for me. I had gotten the stuff done that I can do, like rust proofing and, working on the wood and stuff like that. But I'm not an electrician. I don't know how to put electrical stuff. And once again, I'm reliant on other people for all of that. So there became a significant amount of finishing it up for the buttoning up process that I didn't really know how to complete. And I would have had to hire other people or spend a large amount of time learning these types of things. So the last little home stretch, I was running into difficulties in finishing up, which is a bit of a bummer because it was very close to being completed. So the best solution I had for it at the time was take this van, turn it on over to family. My mom and dad actually already had a van. My brother had a van. I was actually the last person to get a van for this camping stuff because they liked it. And my dad really liked the van, so he uses it for camping and, or whatever they wanted to do, go exploring and stuff like that. And so it was cool to see at least family members be able to use it since it was mostly completed anyway. But man, that project was so close to being completed. I mean, we had water, plumbing, electricity, like almost done. Like all the wires are in there. We even had it where it had Ethernet in and out port. So if you're in someone's driveway or somewhere that someone else has internet, you can wire internet into it, or you can take your Starlink and then internet somebody else. So you can be like a hub for it. It had battery. I mean, honestly, it was a pretty cool setup. There are quite a bit of dudes that actually do this in Alaska that live out of either tiny homes or like this one's super cool. This guy's got a truck with like a tiny home built onto the back of it. And these channels are great. I don't know what it is about watching people living a simple life. Sometimes I think the internet didn't do any of us as a human race any favors. And you watch these videos where people just have like a much simpler style of life, like the log cabin style of life, and something about, I don't know if it's like a man shit thing where you're like, live a simple life where you chop down wood and go hunting or something kind of sounds appealing. But then I wake up in the morning and all I want to do is play video games. So I don't know how well I would do without the internet. And I'm not sure how well Kitty would do inside of a van anyway. But I did think it was an interesting part of my life that I don't know if I've ever really shared on this channel before. People that watched for many years probably saw me building the thing. I used to do it on live streams all the time. I'd sit there and work on it, and it would take hours and hours and hours, and I'd try to figure out shit as I'm going, and my brother would help me out. And it was just it was a time where I had a completely different plan, doing a completely different thing, and I thought it was interesting, wanted to share it today, because this game actually did change my life. All right, that's my version of the meme.